Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Washington Informer News, WIN TV. I'm your host, Denise Rolark Barnes, and publisher of The Informer. So glad to be with you this afternoon. We've been running around trying to get the show together. And, it's funny, I was on the Black News Network yesterday with Del Lewis, who's doing a show there. And he cracked on my little, it's over here, my pencil sharpener in the background. But there's some things that just always work. And that pencil sharpener just happens to be one. We don't use it that often, thank goodness, due to technology. But it's still there. So if anybody needs to sharpen their pencil, just come on over to 3117 Martin Luther King Avenue in Southeast DC with your mask. We have hand sanitizer. And we will certainly give you some distance to come over and sharpen your pencil and get back to work. So just joking, but I just had to share that with you all. I also like to mention the fact that, yes, we have another issue of the Washington Informer out this week. And I am so happy that we were able to cover so much of what happened last week. We laid John Lewis to rest and in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was really a sort of celebration of life. I mean, if you can talk about good trouble and you need an example of that, John Lewis is definitely the person. And there's a film coming out soon and some other things that are going to happen to commemorate his life. And so we're really, really proud that we were there. And of course, the big story, which we're going to be talking to someone about in a little while, and we had on A1 this week, is about Biden preparing for his vice presidential pick. So that's a very, very controversial subject, and we are just glad to be on the front row of this and to tell the story to all of our readers. So visit us at WashingtonInformer.com. We'd love to, first of all, say thank you to those of you all who signed up for our weekly e-blast. We want you to continue to do that because we send the top news of the day out to all of our subscribers, and it helps us. We're trying to keep local media alive, trying to keep the Black press alive. So anytime you sign up and become a part of our Informer family, it certainly does make a difference, and I appreciate that. If you hear a lot of noise in the background, I apologize, but we're still trying to get this show together here. I want to also say that, tomorrow would have been the 15th anniversary of the Summer Spirit Festival, hosted by, of course, the dynamic duo of Carol Kirkendall and Darrell Brooks, professionally known as CD Enterprises. And before the show ends, we're going to be talking to our editor, D. Kevin McNair, about the impact that COVID-19 has had not only on the Summer Spirit Festival, but so many other outdoor events, especially those sponsored by CD Enterprises that we looked so forward to and will not be able to participate in this year. So we look forward to having that conversation with Kevin, and that'll be followed by at least our own experience of Summer Festival through a photo essay by our photo editor, Chevry Lassiter. So having said that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
Complete the 2020 U.S. Census. It is safe and secure. It benefits your city, your community, and your family. Complete it online, over the phone, or once you receive it in the mail. You matter. Get counted. 2020 Census.gov.
We're, this week, it's amazing that while we're celebrating the fact that Black women are among those who are being considered for the vice presidential nominee, there's a lot of controversy going on around that. And just this week, top Black women leaders issued an open letter. And in it, they said that Black women are many things. We're business executives, political strategists, and elected officials, philanthropists, and activists. We are health and wellness practitioners. We are entertainers and faith leaders. We are wives, mothers, daughters, educators, and students. And we all are very proud of the power and the powerful that are among us. But this week, as I said, more than 1,000 Black women thus far have signed on to an open letter denouncing racist and sexist attacks against vice presidential candidates. So I'm happy to have with us today Joteka Edie, who is the founder and CEO of Full Circle Strategies, LLC, a social impact consulting firm committed to advancing transformative change and global impact. And she is described as, you all know the TV show Scandal, where she's described as the Olivia Pope of Silicon Valley. She also previously served as the senior advisor to the president and CEO of the senior director for voting rights for the NAACP. That was a mouthful, Joteka, but I'm so glad that you're here with us today. How are you doing? Hello, can you hear us? All right, sounds like we're having a little technical problem. Joteka, can you hear me?
Hi,
Oh,
how are you?
oh, good, good. You hear me now?
I can hear you.
Fantastic. I was getting worried because I was so looking forward to us having this conversation and having you here with representing the group hopes will be 10,000 Black women who will sign this open letter. Tell us about it.
Yes, well, first of all, thank you, Denise and the Washington Informer, for always telling the important news of the Black community and particularly Black women. So we thank you for just having us. And I am a representative of many women that have signed what we believe is a letter that the world should read, that the world should carefully watch, and should sign on and support. Just to provide context, and you shared, this is a letter that has been signed by and written by and signed by more than 500 Black women that are leading in every sector of this nation, Black women in business, Black women in tech, Black women in politics, Black women in faith, Black women in health, Black women in entertainment. And we have come together united, and we have come to share one message, that we will denounce and that we will speak out loudly and clearly against the racist and sexist attacks that have come to the Black women that have been named in the vice presidential pick process. We believe wholeheartedly that these comments have been derogatory. They have no place in the discourse and in the public narrative, and it's important that we speak out against those comments every time we see them, and every way and everywhere that they arise.
Know that most recently, and we did an editorial here in the Informer, and it was even difficult to think about if we wanted to mention this mayor's name, and I don't want to have even a conversation about this recent incident. Well, I'll just say where Black women were described as and Black women leaders, potential vice presidential nominees, or our potential vice president, labeled as Aunt Jemima. And so, are there
Mhm.
other examples that you all have observed that maybe some of us have just missed?
Yes, Denise, and I think we're all seeing it, and it's happening over and over and over again. I mean, we see Bloomberg News with a headline asking if Senator Harris is, quote, too ambitious to be vice president, or you see the Politico making a statement that Congresswoman Karen Bass is the anti-Senator Kamala Harris, or comments that some of these candidates are too eager, or that these candidates are not apologetic enough. So we've seen this over and over again. And what's clear is that the Black women in this process have been subjected to a standard that no other quote candidate, if I must say, has been subjected to, and particularly not subjected to treatment that men in the past have been subjected to, that have been a part of any vice presidential process. And so the questions of whether or not they're qualified, or questions about their personal characteristics and or their personal qualities have come into place. And we know these women are all very qualified. Any one of these women are qualified to be a governing partner to Vice President Joe Biden. But what we say in our letter and what we make very clear is that we have to denounce and we have to speak up against what we're seeing is racist and sexist attacks. And we know it's meant to undermine our collective power as Black women. I'll go on to say this. Black women have been and will continue to be a very strong and powerful force in this nation. Black women represent the highest propensity of voters in this country. There are 16 million Black women eligible to vote. We know the power of Black women, and we understand and know that what's happening is clearly meant to undermine that collective power of Black women. And also, we know very clearly that this is just dog whistle politics. We know what it means when someone calls us an Aunt Jemima. These are qualified, talented, brilliant women whose name have come forth in this process, and they deserve the respect that they have earned. And we have to honor these Black women, protect and support them.
Yeah, messages that you all have created that we hope that people will go and if they see them, to share them across their platforms as well. And this one essentially states, no, make no mistake, we will not tolerate racist or sexist tropes consistently utilized in an effort to undermine our power. And it's interesting because you mentioned the fact that Black women wield a lot of power at the voting box every election. And that's something that we, while we're talking against the racism and sexism, it sounds like this letter is also promoting that power that Black women have.
Absolutely. Black women are powerful. We're leaders. I think just looking at who signed this letter is just it shows the force and the strength and the power of Black women. The signatories of this letter range from Oscar winners to leaders in entertainment to leaders in the political aspect of our nation, leaders in movement building, leaders in education, leaders in the healthcare and the faith. It's a representation of the power that we are. But it's clear if you look at just the sheer numbers of the voting power of Black women, we have power. We've always had power. And as we reflected in this letter, it has been Black women in both our history and our presence that have really propelled this nation forward. It was the power of Black women and their brilliance that took this nation to the moon. It's been the power and the brilliance of Black women that have yielded some of the most ambitious and the most greatest moments in this nation. And so we should be proud of that historic power, and we should celebrate it and certainly not demean it in the ways that we have seen happen. And what we also want to be very clear is these attacks are coming from many places. And we also call on the media. The media should be ashamed of itself for perpetuating these stereotypes and these narratives. And it's important upon them to stop it as well, in addition to where it's coming from in the source.
So before we leave, I do want to ask, what happens with this collaborative, this collective of Black women, if by chance Biden selects a woman who is not a Black woman as his running mate?
You know, this collaboration and this group, it's a group of women, and I should note that we are a group of women that, regardless of who we think should be the vice presidential pick, are united in stating that we're very clear that this discourse and this racism and sexism and the treatment of the Black women in the process should not happen. So there are women that are supporting this letter and support this movement that may have another pick or another idea of who they think should be the vice presidential pick. And certainly Black women will be paying attention. Certainly there are many Black women who've been very vocal about their desire for this vice presidential pick to be a Black woman for a variety of reasons. I do believe that if it's not a vice presidential pick, I think that there are Black women that will be very vocal about disappointment, but I think it is very clear that there are many Black women that care very deeply about the the direction of this nation, where this nation is going. And Black women will be committed to ensuring that issues of the that are important to Black women and a Black women's agenda is front and center of any and all candidates, and that we make very clear what our agenda is, and that we are out there ensuring that we do our part to ensure that the issues that we care about are at the forefront, and candidates that care about our issues receive our support.
And so, lastly, with this effort, which I think does garner a lot of attention to the political process and the role that Black women are playing, but what do we do to ensure that there's Black participation in November? That we actually get not only Black women, but get all people of particularly of color, Black people out to the polls in November.
It's going to be important that we reinforce what's at stake. I think we all know we're living in a moment right now where we have seen, more than 100,000, nearly 200,000 Americans of all races, of all ethnicities, of all across the economic spectrum that are no longer with us because of what many would believe has been the mishandling of a global pandemic in our country. We are seeing many people and across the country, at a point of just their economy and the economics of this country. People are struggling. We have people out of work. There are people who, and we realize with this pandemic where we don't have quality access to healthcare. And I think it's going to be important for us to put these issues out front and for us to understand as Black people what's at stake with this election, and important for everyone to know, where and how to vote.
Well, you've given us our challenge, and I especially appreciate you
Information
saying where
with
is
the massive amount of Black people in the country, that it's important that they register to vote, that they double check that they're still on the roll.
right. Thank you, Joteka. We got a little mixed signal here, but you've given us, as far as the media is concerned, our marching orders, and yes, we want to make sure that all the voters know as much as they can about the candidates, and most importantly, to make sure that folks go out to the polls in November or by mail, whatever the process is going to be, but that they participate in November. I truly appreciate you being with us today. Let me ask you, if folks want to sign on to this letter or be supported, where do they go?
The letter, if you just follow the hashtag win with Black women, you can find the petition. You can also find us online and at Win with Black Women. We're on all social media, and you can follow us and you can find the petition. And we ask that you sign the petition in support of this open letter and add your name to the more than 500 Black women that are standing up against what we believe is just a narrative and just a set of public statements that do not belong in the public discourse as it relates to these qualified Black women that have been named in this process.
Wonderful. We're going to add that to our chat so that people will have that. And of course, we're going to be posting the other social media tags that you've given to us. So we appreciate. So I've been asked, can you say it again, Joteka? What are the two ways in which they can sign on to the petition?
You can follow hashtag Win with Black Women, and you will be able to find the petition that way. And you can also find us at Win with Black Women. We're on all social media handles. You can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well.
Okay. All right. We got it. Thanks so much. That was a quick ending, but I think that I appreciate those of you all who have commented, particularly Betty Scipio. Betty, thanks for watching, and you're right. We found that we still have a long way to go, a long struggle ahead, and it was interesting to do a little research today to find out how many Black women have actually either attempted a run for president or were considered running for vice president over the last 100 years of this country. And in a couple of weeks or next week, we'll be commemorating the 19th Amendment, but talking to folks who are making sure that the role of Black women has not been erased from that history. And we want to make sure that the story is told well and properly. So we will continue this conversation. Up next, we're going to talk to Martin Mitchell. Martin Mitchell, yes, he is an alumnus of Bowie State University and also a 20-year resident of Prince George's County. And he currently serves as president of the Prince George's County Young Democrats, whose mission is to increase political and social activism. Mr. Mitchell is here right now, looking very calm, but you all have a lot on your plate. I know that you are trying to deal with this issue of restoring term limits, what's happening with the legislation to, I think, increase property taxes in Prince George's County, as well as making sure that the county is prepared for mail-in balloting in November. Mr. Mitchell, welcome to WIN TV.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Good.
You mentioned a plethora of issues. Of course, we have a lot on our plate since we have a majority Democratic county. But I would say the first thing that I'm working on right now is trying to help get election judges, because obviously with COVID-19, there won't be as many senior citizens who are able to help out, who normally help out, do a great job with elections. So we're trying to get more young Democrats, more young people involved. So, our seniors could stay at home and we could have a smooth election process. As far as the mail-in voting, I'm encouraging everybody to request our absentee ballot. I'm in support of mail-in ballot all around, especially during COVID-19. As you've seen in the past primary we had in previous elections, mail-in ballot does increase voter turnout. More participation, which I believe a democracy should have, increased participation. Mail-in ballot is a good way to go.
So when you say that you're working with that, one of the things we'll be doing as a newspaper and a TV show is making sure that residents in all the jurisdictions that we cover know when those ballots, either how to request it, whether it's going to be universally mailed out to all registered voters, whether you have to send an application to get a ballot. Do you know what the process is going to be in the county?
Well, basically, I've already requested mine. So you would go to the Board of Election website and you can do it all online. It's pretty simple. I needed my driver's license number or state ID, and I think I put in my social, and then they send a confirmation. And basically, you have to do this, I think, by October 27th.
Okay.
About by October 27th. So, just go to the State Board of Elections website, request your absentee ballot as soon as possible. Took me less than 3 minutes. Pretty simple.
Wonderful. Have you received it yet?
I have not received it yet. I'm gonna be on top of that. Because I will say the primary things were a little crazy. I think I got mine late in the game, but they still got it out to me. So I still have faith in them getting it out this time. So, but I did follow up. So I'm gonna continue to follow up with them to make sure I receive my ballot.
So as a leader, with the Prince George's County Young Democrats, how do you feel about young voter turnout? And what are you all doing? What are you all doing to ensure that the turnout is greater in November?
Well, I would say the biggest thing for me is just, trying to relay the message to my fellow young people why voting is important. One voice, one vote. And for me, I try to engage around issues that they're interested in.
But that's kind of hard, isn't it? Now with COVID, and you can't have outdoor events, you can't have meetings or rallies. So how are you accomplishing that?
Well, things have been a challenge, but I will say that we've been very connected virtually. So we do Zoom meetings, we partner with different organizations, and we have very interactive meetings. Like we'll invite different elected officials on, and we'll ask them questions, and then we'll let the members and audience pose questions. That way it's not your typical listening session that you would see where you would go and an elected official would just talk for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and wouldn't really be asked questions.
Right.
A lot of them feel more engaged in the process because they're being able to get in front of these elected officials. So yeah, that's basically.
Wonderful. Well, I'm really proud, as the mama in me, proud of you for
Thank you.
your
Thank you.
leadership in the county. How long have you served?
Well, I've been with the Young Democrats since 2016, and then I've been on the board since 2018. Before being the president, I was the Central Committee man for the Young Dems, and then I was the vice president. So, now I'm president. So I've been with the organization for about 4 years.
Okay, so Martin Mitchell is a name we need to listen out for as we move forward. And but I want to thank you for this opportunity, and we hope you can use or call on us anytime at the Informer to help get the word out about what your activities are in the county, and but particularly making sure that the issues that you all are involved with are amplified. We will be, of course, counting those numbers as everybody will of what the voter turnout is, but particularly among young people all across this country. So thank you for joining us.
I thank you. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys soon.
Okay, thanks a lot. It's a lot to try to get folks out to vote, and we're hoping that they will be so energetic to get out in November, because we need to make sure we have a great turnout. But we're going to move now to business. This is, what is it? What month is this? Black Business Month. And while our next guest does not necessarily focus on Black businesses, he is a Black businessman focused on commercial real estate. And if there's ever been a time or maybe a crisis, we'll find out from him, in commercial real estate in cities across this country, it is now due to COVID-19. But strangely enough, we hear that there are some small businesses that are opening up, either in downtown Washington or National Harbor. So that's our conversation with our next guest, who is no stranger to us, because we know his mom very well, and some of us are very familiar with his wife. This is Ernie Jarvis. And he says he can't hear me. He sees I'm talking to him. So let's see if we can get him on the line, so that we can talk about what's going on, or how COVID-19 is impacting us. Can you hear me yet, Ernie? Can you cut up your volume on your computer? Okay. Right. We're going to see if we can fix that. See if you can cut up your volume on your computer. But as I said, Ernie Jarvis has his own commercial real estate company, and he's been doing business in the DC area for quite some time. And he's in a market actually where there's, he can tell us, but less than a handful of African Americans who are involved in the commercial real estate business. He probably has his own stories that he could share about his successes as well as his challenges in this area. But he's also here to tell us about what's happening with our small businesses. We're trying to get him on, so we'll be with us in just a few minutes. And so I'm just going to keep talking to you. And I want you to actually, I see some folks have commented. I would love to hear what your comments are. Hi, Enid Doggett, who is a phenomenal public relations professional in DC. And so glad that she's watching. If you are watching, just give us a shout out. I need to fill this time with something. Yes, Yep, I talked to Betty earlier. I mentioned her. And if there is anybody else out there that just wants to give a shout out, or to talk about, maybe share with us what's going on in your community. All right, Ernie, you there?
I'm here.
I can hear you well, too. Good. How are you?
Happy and healthy.
Wonderful. I couldn't tell your whole life story. I was about to, but I said I didn't want to get cut off in the middle. But really, we were just talking about the whole issue of commercial real estate, and how you're probably maybe how many people, I would think that there's less than a handful of folks who are actually in the business as deeply as you are that are African American. Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely right. We are less than 0.5% of the commercial real estate professionals in the District of Columbia and the region, which is actually criminal. and sad.
Why do you think that's the case?
I think for a number of reasons. One, historically, we haven't had access to capital. Two, it is a who do you know business, and African Americans just haven't had the social networks. And three, I think it's just something that they don't teach at HBCUs and they don't teach at majority colleges. And so it really is a who do you know business? How do you get in it? I started 25 years ago appraising houses and then made the transition to commercial real estate.
So how, even with that, how has COVID-19 impacted your business?
It's really slowed things down. Capital is more expensive. It's even going to be more difficult for young people and people of color to get in the industry right now because companies are furloughing people and they're laying off people. But I think that there is, from a revenue perspective, things are slow. But I'm optimistic that more people of color, especially young people of color, are learning about the commercial real estate industry as a profession.
So when we talk about business being slow, we look at downtown Washington, right? And I feel we talk about the restaurants and the hotels, which we know they're suffering, but then we have all these commercial real estate buildings with
Yeah.
tenants who are not in them. And then, so I'm just trying to get a sense from you of not only how that impacts your business, but how that's impacting the commercial real estate business in general.
Well, that's a great question. The last quarter, our vacancy rate for downtown office space is over 15%. That's the highest it's been in about 2 decades, meaning there's more supply than there is demand, and that's going to continue for some period of time. Restaurants are certainly going to be impacted. I think that we're going to see some shuttering of restaurants downtown because there's nobody there. It's a ghost town. I went to my office on K Street the other day, and it really is a ghost town. But when you talk about tenants and downtown buildings, especially with our audience and our community, Denise, very sadly, there are 1,400 buildings downtown Washington between 7th Street and 23rd Street. People of color own one, and that's the National Council of Negro Women's building, which really was a gift from Oprah and Mrs. Cosby to Dr. Hyde to help her. 1,400 buildings, and we don't own one. And so my goal really is to spread the gospel about that. That's not a reflection upon former mayors or former city council members. Because if I said that, one of them, former city council member, would kill me. But
and we know who that is.
we know who that is. But still, in a city that has been between 50 and 70% African American for decades, we don't own one building. And so when we talk about the business climate overall, I really want to bring that point to light and highlight that point. There's some solutions, but probably a longer conversation now. But I hope that will change soon. I'm concerned about small businesses who occupy those buildings, how they're going to make it with PPP loans or however, but you can't do business and have a lack of revenues for 6 to 12 months and survive if you're a small business. So I think it will hurt minority-owned businesses, and I hope that it will. And I unfortunately think it will hurt all small businesses in general.
So, is there any ray of sunshine anywhere, Ernie? Is there? I mean, we've heard about a couple of, at least on the tenant side. Are rents going to get lower so that more Black-owned businesses can locate in downtown, or is that not the solution? Is the solution really trying to look at collaboration and ownership?
I think it's really collaboration and ownership. You look at people like Ted Lerner, who owns Nationals. When he started in his business in his own community, they collaborated and they put their nickels together, and it ended up to be a quarter. and they bought property. And it's not while real estate is one of the industries where you can create wealth, it takes generations. That Lerner is almost 90 years old, right? But it takes generations. So I would say to the people of color in the District of Columbia, try to hold on, right? And I know because of the gentrification process, there are communities that are coming into the district and making obscene offers for your real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
I get them every day.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly. And so if there was a guy named, or there is a guy named Kent Amos, who was he's a Washingtonian. You probably know Kent well.
Yes.
He was at Xerox, and he was an executive at Xerox for years. And I heard him make a speech at Howard about 25 years ago that really impacted the way that I thought about dealing with Black-owned businesses. When Kent went to an automobile dealership, he said, "I'd like to speak to the African-American salesperson." And the people would say, "Well, is there a problem? We don't have one." And then he said, "Well, I'm going to take my business somewhere else." And so if I apply that to real estate, try to take that sensibility and apply it to real estate. You can sell to whomever you want, right? We got to be careful of discrimination.
Right.
Sell to whoever you want, right? But keep in mind your vendors, your agents, your construction guys, your trades guys, men and women. When I say guys, your bank. We should all have an account at Industrial Bank, right? We should all advertise in your newspaper, right?
Oh,
Keep some of the
yes.
dollars in the community, right?
Right.
So I would say hold on, right? There are people in this community who've owned properties for years, right? And I can see them holding on. But when somebody comes and they sign a big check, our eyes get large because, it has been a tough road to live in some of our neighborhoods. So stay and enjoy the new amenities.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's a good note to end on, to say, hold on. We want to talk to you more. We hope that your fingers will want you to do some writing. We certainly would invite you to add some commentaries in the Washington Informer so that we can help to get that message out. And if there's only one or a handful of you all, we're glad that you're one of them. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's good to see you. I'm going to sharpen some of my pencils at your house.
Come on, it's right in the background. Thanks, Ernie.
All right,
Take care.
Well.
All right, you too. We're talking about businesses and we're talking about holding on, and we are so proud that even in the midst of COVID, there are young entrepreneurs who are out here making things happen. And with us now, we're going to have Ryan Whitfield and Shawn Pullum. Both own 6 Smoothie King franchises in the metro area. And they're about to build out a new business called Burn Box Pizza. So COVID not only is having them hold on, they are moving on. And we are so excited to bring them on to the show now. Ryan Whitfield and Shawn Pullum, are you there?
Shawn and Ryan, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Wow, that is fantastic. I only want to talk to you so I can hear your voices, but that video's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. How you doing, Denise?
Thank you.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Why and how and when? I mean, where? Tell me how you all got started with this.
You want to go ahead, Shawn, or you want me to?
Go ahead. You can start.
Oh, so I guess it started back maybe in 2014. And the first store opened in 2016, but it started before that. The journey, I think in 2014, because I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm trying to keep it brief.
Right.
But 2014, Shawn brought the idea to me and was just telling me that, you know, he thought this would be a good mix for what we were doing. And, you know, we went to Smoothie King and gave them money up front. And for like the next year or two, we couldn't find a location. And then we just started taking things into our own hands. And we talk about that kind of like how being proactive was why we look at now. We actually launched our first location in June 2016. And then we just kept going with it. Just kept going, store after store after store after store.
So where's your first one?
Upper Marlboro, Lago area.
Okay, and where are the others?
You have the second one in Silver Spring, third one is Wardorf, fourth one is in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, fifth one is in Aspen Hill, which is like a suburb in Silver Spring, and the sixth one is in Prince Frederick, Maryland.
Fantastic. Now you got two things that I know that can affect a business like yours. One is seasonal. Regardless of COVID, you know, people don't always think of something cool to drink in the middle of December. So that might be one. The other, of course, is now we are facing COVID. That's the other part. What's a benefit might be the health aspect of that. So tell me, how have you all been able to survive all of that?
Shawn.
Shawn just wants to look.
What component?
Take your pick.
What component? Is the pandemic component, or you want to talk about? Well, the seasonality of it is that I would say the first 2 years, it was challenging because, you know, we was young to the Smoothie King franchise, and we didn't really understand the seasonality component to it entirety. So I mean, we quickly learned that, you know what, we have 8 months to pretty much maximize our business and be able to manage, you know, our financials to get us through, you know, the next 4 months. But however, I mean, we learned that pretty quickly, and it was pretty good because during that off season, we got more time to focus on training, the community aspect of it, and just pouring and investing it, you know, into our team members.
Fantastic. And how have you been affected by this pandemic? Have you all been able to stay open?
I mean,
I know you haven't, but, you know, because you were forced to close for a while, but you're open now, right?
correct.
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. So, and how's that affecting business?
I would say the biggest thing is just people coming out.
Yeah.
And when the news and the government is telling everybody that I'm come out, you know, it's the traffic is not the same.
Right.
But one thing that has shifted is that online ordering, delivering, and doing pickup has become the new norm. So it's like that's kind of like how we live now. So it's like the numbers of people coming in are slightly down, but the positive thing is that the ordering online and the delivery has picked up to try to, I guess I want to say kind of hold on to the business, but it's kind of like, you know, it's helped keeping in everything afloat. So I think it's going in the right direction. It's trending up.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad that we were able to have you on, particularly in the middle of August. You know, DC's hottest, just awful month, even though I love it because native Washingtonians get used to this stuff. And so you have another couple of months, but we certainly do want to make sure people knew about your locations and that they would come out and support. And you're also about to open something called Burn Box Pizza. Yes. Tell us about that.
Shawn, go ahead.
Yeah, so Burn Box, we really excited about the Burn Box concept. So what we did was, you know, when we started the Smoothie King franchise, you know, we did that for the most part of just learning, right? We wanted to learn the franchise model, and we knew that starting a business had a 20% chance of a success rate, rather, and having a franchise had an 80% success rate. And so, you know, we wanted to just wrap our arms around, you know, the whole franchise model, put us in the best position to succeed. And once we acquire all the tools and the knowledge to be able to run a franchise, we wanted to launch our own concept and apply those same principles. And and that's what we're doing right now. So Burn Box is a fast casual concept pizza, that we launching. Right now, the ETA is like in January, February of 2021. And we just amazed. I mean, from the outside, it's going to appear as if, we selling pizzas and salads, healthy salads and healthy pizzas, actually. But at the end of it, our concept and our mission is going to be evolved around, trying to fight the world hunger. So every time somebody buy a pizza, we're going to be giving a free pizza away. Currently, right now, 9 million people die, from starvation. So, that's going to be really the mission of it. It's going to be able to, help actually, fix that, that starvation crisis that we have going on.
Fantastic. And we're about out of time, but I just have to ask the question because this is an area that my brother was who's been in the restaurant business most of his life, has always been concerned about customer service. And I know that you all are bringing people on, you're training folks to work for both of your businesses. How important is that to you?
I think that's one of the most important things. Your guest experience. Without your guests, you don't have a business. So that's the key component. So that's one of the things about me and Shawn. We're very hands-on. So you may see us in the store, and when we're in there, we're just pouring and trying to just keep that energy of good customer service and just making sure that our team members and our staff knows exactly how important it is.
Wonderful. So the training's there. Well, I want to congratulate both of you all again for what you've done, what you've accomplished, for contributing not only to the economics of the area, but also creating jobs for people and giving us something refreshing all year long. So good luck to you. And if there's anything you wanted to say before we closed out, this is your moment.
Well, listen, we can't wait to see everybody. As you know,
Hi, I'm Ron Burke, Director of Advertising.
Sorry.
I was going to say, listen, we can't wait to see everybody, who's who likes Smoothie King. And we look forward to everybody to Booking and Burn Box once we open.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, we wish you both the best of luck.
All right. Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you. If you can hear me, I can't hear.
I can hear you. But... Yeah, I can hear you. Good. All right. Thanks much.
Hi, I'm Ron Burke.
Now it's time for Shawn. You can go now.
Hi, I'm Ron Burke, Director of Advertising and Marketing for the Washington Informer. We are proud to serve as the leading multimedia company connecting you to the African American community. We know the Black community is disproportionately affected by COVID-19, and it is our mission to keep you informed of all the positive news that you can use related to this pandemic. The Washington Informer continues to operate daily, delivering news. And together with our hardworking and dedicated staff, we can do more to support your business. We are in this thing together, and I want to help you. Let me customize a solution that will help you effectively reach our more than 87,000 readers and subscribers. Our goal is to keep your business at the forefront of your customers' minds. We want you to come out of this stronger and better when this crisis is over, but we've got to get there together. Contact me today. I'm Ron Burke. I'm at 202-888-6835 or rburke@washingtoninformer.com. Let's work together and stay safe. Thank you.
Now it's time for WI Bridge TV.
Hey everyone, I'm Claudia Watts, editor of The Bridge, and I'm super excited today because I'm going to be joined by Michelle German, founder of German Aesthetics, and Coral Anderson, the man behind her brand. So can we bring them on in? Hey Michelle. Guys, I'm so sorry. Hey Michelle, you look great. How are you?
How are you? I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. So first, Coral. Hey Coral, thanks for joining us today.
Hey guys.
Okay. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about, your products and how you kind of got to creating them. And then we're also going to talk about the importance of marketing because it's Black Business Month. And I think that we need to talk about both sides of the story. So, Michelle,
Yes.
you are a certified physician's assistant. You work in cosmetic dermatology.
Yes.
And how long have you been in that field? And at what point did you decide it was time to create your own line?
Oh my gosh, I've been in the field. I've been a physician assistant for 10 plus years. I'm like, I don't even want to think about how long. And then I've been specifically in aesthetic medicine and cosmetic dermatology for 6. I absolutely loved it as soon as I, got into it. I knew that this was specifically meant for me. And then it was just kind of seeing my counterparts do things and just seeing the education that we could provide to the people that actually had the access to do it, that inspired me to kind of create my own, because I felt as if everybody needs to have access to this sort of education and quality product.
Wow, I love that. I love that. So, I mean, there are so many different skincare lines, and each line has a million different products. So how did you decide what your initial product offering would be? Like, how did you come to that? What was your strategy?
At first I wanted to conquer everything and I wanted to do it all, honestly. And then I quickly realized that I should just be good at a few things first before trying to do everything. So my number one skincare product in general is a vitamin C serum. So I wanted to formulate that first. Vitamin C serums are just like an amazing antioxidant for the skin. And most people don't really know about antioxidants for skin, but they protect your skin against free radicals and with environmental damage. So I wanted to create this one first. And I really do feel as if everybody's vitamin C isn't the same. So I wanted to be able to get into this niche market and provide the medical grade vitamin C that will actually give you results that you can sort of see versus creating a cleanser or a moisturizer. Because there are a lot of brands out there that have already done that very well. So there was just like not a need to compete against something that's already done well. But there's not a lot of vitamin C and medical grade brands that people have access to.
No, that's very cool, because I know you'll go on Amazon or something like that, and it's like vitamin C for your face, but that's always broken me out. But your vitamin C serum has not broken me out at all. And that's a big thing.
It looks great.
Everything. Oh yeah, shameless plug, you guys. She's really been getting my skin together, so I'm very happy about that. But so, okay, what would you say is the essence of your brand? Like, what do you want people to feel when they use your products? When they interact with you, what is that?
I want them to feel celebrated. I want them to feel celebrated in their individuality, in their choices, in their beauty. I want them to just feel liberated and celebrated for sure. I think that as a woman of color, and actually as a dark-skinned woman of color, like in my household, I was always celebrated. My beauty was always celebrated. And I want to have other people feel that way, because I also realized that on the outside world, it's not always celebrated. So if people leave just feeling better about themselves and better about their skin, I always say that, you should put your best face forward, because most times that's when you're going to feel your best anyway. So if you feel better once you leave me, then my job is done.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, so Coral, all right, you are a creative director, which means you operate in varying capacities across the design world. And you mentioned on our test call that while you've done branding for other types of products, you've never worked with skincare. And so can you talk about how you really translated that essence into a visual identity?
Branding is pretty similar across the board. Really, you're just kind of telling the story of, a product or, a specific deliverable. So it's fortunate for me that I know Michelle personally, so it wasn't as difficult to speak to her brand as much, because I kind of know her aesthetic. And then when it came down to the actual product, it's skincare, it's like it kind of just seamlessly flows into, the creative realm. So it wasn't really difficult to come up with something that spoke to her brand and felt organic.
Okay, well, so I know, Michelle, you've got some products back there. Can you show us so that people can kind of see what we're talking about? We're talking about.
For sure. Coral did an amazing job with my branding, and I love it. I think that it's important for your creative director and the person doing your branding to actually understand who you are. Like, I wanted.
It looks, yeah, I love it. So
beautiful. It is, and that's me. I'm like,
simple and beautiful. Yes.
Simple and beautiful.
Yes, I love it. Even down to like the actual bottle. Was that something that you were involved in, Coral?
I did not create the bottle, but we do have some things in the works. I'm not going to unveil those too soon. But yeah, it's definitely been fun.
How important would you say, given your other experience with branding, is it to the success, like the long-term success of a product, to really have like that strong push, like that connection?
It's huge. And it's interesting that this is, skincare, and Michelle said, put your best face forward. Like, your branding is the face of your company. It's the first thing that people see. It's how people recognize, who and what you are. So, without that, like, I've seen tons of products that'll be incredible, but they fall flat because, their branding's flat. That, and they're not recognizable enough. But I'm also, as a designer, humble enough to understand I may be the first to work on the branding of this, but I'm surely not going to be the last. Companies continue to rebrand, decade after decade. And I'm just happy that I could lay a strong foundation for, whoever comes after me to, build on,
All right. I think that's great. So, Michelle, you have to let people know how they can get in contact with you. Where can they buy products?
For sure. So my office is located at 21st and F Street Northwest, right on the campus of GW. So you guys can always stop by. I'm here usually Monday through Friday. Also on my website, GermanAesthetics.com. That's GERMAN, just like my last name. And then aesthetics, AESTHETICS.com, or on Instagram. My handle is just my name, Michelle S. German. So I hope to see you guys soon.
Yes. So thank you both so much for being with us today. Oh yeah, we got it on the screen. Yes, people, copy that down. And it's a great gift for your friends and your mom and everyone. So you want to keep an eye out during the holidays. And we'll see you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Okay. All right.
Where do you come to get all your news? Washington Informer. Where do you?
All right. Well.
That was quite a segment. I really did enjoy that interview with the folks from WI Bridge, and I want to remind you all that every week WI Bridge will get a segment of the program, and we'll introduce them as well as an entire show the fourth week of the month. So now we have, as I told you all before, we're going to talk about summer spirit, and Kevin McNair, Kevin McNair, editor of the Washington Informer, is here to share that information with us. Gosh, you're not going to be able to go this year, Kevin.
Hi, I'm here. What's going on?
Can
you hear me?
I can now. I was going to say, we're going to miss the Summer Speak Festival this year. Talk to us about it.
Well, Daryl Brooks and Carol Kirkendow put this piece together. I mean, they've been around since the 70s with a lot of local pieces, all concerts, family friendly, and the whole purpose has been host and entertainment, that you can take the whole family out, so family friendly. Summer Spirit's been out in Maryland and Merriweather for a while, but this would have been tomorrow, the 50th anniversary. Tragically, there can't lockdowns and shutdowns. And Daryl and I talked earlier today. At the end of the show, Chevy's put together a photo gallery, trying to let people remember those many moments. I mean, I've been covering them, I don't know, the last 5 years. I'm helping Daryl with some of his memoirs and stuff now, get his juices, his story. But it's always been a great event. And it's unfortunate that they can't have it. You know, I even asked them, well, maybe you want to do something virtual. But, you know, some things you just cannot recreate virtually. You got to be there. You know, you got to have the wind in your face and the grass. So, and it has some really great acts lined up for this year. That's one of the things I can't even say who they are, but just some really tremendous entertainers are going to be there. And so I hope the video that we show at the end will kind of get people back in that mindset. But we're going to get through this. There's going to be live shows again. I don't know how they look, but Daryl and Carol are not going anywhere. CD Enterprise is going to be there. And we can't wait to see how it reconfigures itself and then manifests itself for the people of the greater Washington area.
Well, we appreciate that, and we know that they have been keeping us entertained for summers for, oh God, at least 30 some years. I mean, we can go back to Human Kindness Day and so many other festivals.
Go to Anacostia, to you name it, they've been doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thanks, Kevin. We're going to go and have our virtual experience with these photos.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to tell folks, keep reading the Washington Informer. And you know where to find us at WashingtonInformer.com. And please make sure you subscribe to our online newsletter. Kevin, have a great weekend.
Thank you, Denise. You also. Blessings. Talk to you later today, I'm sure.
All righty. All right. Thank you all. And again, this is the end of another edition of WIN TV, and we will see you next week.
And better every time I come here. It's been wonderful every time. And I hope you come back again. To you.
Yeah. You ready? Yeah. You ready? Yeah. You ready? Yeah. Talk to the ladies. Yo. Yo, now put your Gucci watch on, synchronize the time, and let's rock. Oh, one time for jump round, y'all. Yo, the girl is out partying, touching my body, talking to me like I'm a kindergarten. Today she's on mine, tomorrow she's on his. Don't worry about me, because I know what time it is. Time to get mine while you're trying to get yours. I'll get my paws in your silky drawers, trying to take me to the cleanest.